year would be allowed to go on. We understand shareholders associations are raising concerns in that respect, particularly as it concerns shareholders that are in the rural areas, the issue of light and internet. So those are the issues that they are raising, but we're still looking at it. But meanwhile, the pilot scheme will go on. On multiple subscriptions and forbearance for shareholders with multiple accounts, the forbearance window has now been extended to September 2018. Registrars have acknowledged that investors have started coming forward, but there are challenges in the process. Maybe I should stop here and explain the challenges. You know, during the boom in the market, people come to buy shares in different names. For instance, I'm Mary Joseph Uduk. Somebody would buy with the name of Mary Joseph, Mary Uduk, maybe even turn it upside down. And some will even buy it in names that is not even their names. So probably in the process, they may have forgotten. So the CMC deliberated and recommended the appropriate committee to seek input and come up with recommendations to address the challenges. Therefore, we encourage all affected investors, please, we really need you to stress this for us, investors to come forward and take advantage of the window, that's the forbearance window, before the new deadline. The Technical Committee on Developing a Vibrant Commodities Market for Nigeria presented its report at the meeting. The report will be exposed to the public to elicit comments and input from all stakeholders. It will be placed on our website, for people to comment on. The Technical Committee on e-Dividend Registration reported that the total approved mandate currently is about 2.5 million, translating into 466,000 unique investors' accounts. The deadline for the free e-Dividend registration was 31st March 2018, and that has not changed. When we say free dividend, e-Dividend registration, what we meant was that as at that period, the period that it was going on, it was the SEC that was paying all of the stakeholders, that is the banks, the NIPs, and I think the registrars. The SEC will no longer be paying. That is not to say that the exercise is no longer working. It then means that individual shareholders will be the one to pay the 150 for themselves, no longer the SEC. That's what we need you to please stress. Not that the e-mandate dividend has stopped. No. The new direction of the industry is that bank managers, along with registrars, will charge a token sum of 150 per mandate, and it will be paid by individual shareholders, no longer the.
That's the new acting Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. And finally, the free window for electronic dividend registration has now come to an end. And if you have to regularize the names that you have on your share certificates and all your other securities in the capital market, you have a forbearance period until September 2018 to do that. But let's go now to the unlisted securities market. Recall that a few weeks ago, we had the Chief Executive of the NASD OTC Securities Exchange, Mr. Bola Ajamale, in our studios here to discuss the modalities of the NASD Enterprise Portal. Now, that initiative came into reality this week. While the exponents explained the functions of the portal, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Mr. Okechukwu Enelama, describes the scheme as a bridge between entrepreneurship and private equity investments. Now, let's look at that.
What we have done is we have developed a community of, should I say, entrepreneurs who have gone through a certain amount of discipline. Those ones are what we call incubator groups. We have got 4 of them listed here: Bank of Industry, Faith Foundation, Enterprise Development Center, Tony Elumbulu Foundation. Essentially, what these organizations do is they impact on various entrepreneurs in the form of either capital or in the form of human capital, in the form of management capacity, in the form of strategy and so on. But a lot of the time, the ability to support with the finance they need is not there. But these companies are investor ready. They have developed themselves to a certain state where they appreciate the importance of them sharing ownership of their businesses. So we've approached them and we've told them, now you've groomed them, bring them into a place where they can access, where they can present themselves. On the other side, we also have those who are looking for opportunities in Nigeria, in West Africa, or even in Africa. And the private equity group, some of the players are in the room, some of them are standing on the other side already in the portal. They are looking for opportunities, and I think there's a certain cost that goes into them reviewing opportunities in Nigeria. And so why don't we find a way of putting those opportunities together in one place, and then you can sift through and filter. You'll hear a lot more about that later on. However, most entrepreneurs spend 1 hour or 2 hours sweating in their business during a day, and at the end of the day, they will value their sweat. And normally, and I told this to a couple of people before, the person who's investing in your company does not value your company the same way you value your sweat. Therefore, we'll have a neutral party in the middle that takes account of your sweat, but also understands what the investor is looking for. And we call them the due diligence advisors. So we've brought those communities together into one, and all we're doing essentially is we're creating a channel where information can flow from one to the other, where deals can be made, companies can be eventually funded, they can grow, private equity is happy, the companies are happy, and there's growth in the economy. NASD essentially is a conduit that would like to see a lot more transparency in the capital market, would like to see a lot more liquidity in mobilizing investment and investment flows.
We'll take a break in a moment. When we return, we'll bring you that part of the Minister of Trade and Investment, Mr. Pt.2, on his reaction to the NASDEP initiative.